both inside the cave. Divers were trapped in the garden on the way out. The vision was so great that they didn't see their hands, and they did. Both had only a few minutes of oxygen left. A diver alternative. Then he went back to find another way. I stayed there for 5 minutes. When he came back, so what he saw was a really incompetent cafe. Diving was different from diving in scuba. People go to open water where, if there is an issue, only one push brings the diver directly to the surface, but cafe diving consists of garbstones in the top and sides. And just a narrow way is oxygen is depleted, equipment fails, or do not remember the direction. So understand game over Q diving, the only sport in which the extraordinary high casualty rate is found. Every 1 million participants in swimming, 1-point-eating deaths has been seen in the same way. Talk of 43 in Q divers and base jumping. If you go, every 1 million divers have 130 at casualties. 25 to 30 drivers in this sport worldwide each year. They breathe, and this small number is because Q diving, there are few people in Florida. It's like a table where some tunnels dead end. Some of them will die and some of them will die. Then the water is poured into the water. Temperature always 22 degrees Celsius and visibility normal. Crystal clear, the 17th of November 1991. The morning was pleasant and mildly sunny. Was glowing above the water. WKPP. Yanni Woodville Cast Plane Project. The drivers were out on a machine. The purpose was to explore the new paths of the cave and ready map. There were also 2 new divers. And Parker was both friends and an adventurer. It wasn't just a dive for them. Nay, but a new one. They knew what they were doing, and they knew what they were doing. Their journey will be the biggest test of their lives. The more people hear the name of the springs, the smaller the pool. Think about it from the top. 6 meters looks like a round spring, just its depth. It's 9 meters, but the real story is it's hidden below is a limestone Q system that is 91. The meters are deep to the tunnels, chambers, and inside. It gives people a sense of another world. Fukola Q, part of the world's largest underwater system in Q networks. It starts with an entrance. The narrow path called the Scars Restriction Zone. It's so narrow that only one diver at a time. It can go out, and it can go out. Time diver shoulder, and the tanks hit the stones, but just like this zone ends in front of one. The scenery opens up just like inside the sea. There is no highway tunnel in this place. It is beautiful and dangerous this day. The KPP team divided the divers into 4 groups for their mission. I did everything, David. They were separated so that there was no error. The first group was the ones who surfed near the entrance to the house. It was their job to monitor the entire mission. Doing and responding immediately in times of emergency topped this team. 1. The safety line was acting like the second group of divers. Contains those who decompression tanks in fine places. Then they were placed in their places. Return of the divers. Get extra oxygen to take. This work was the backbone of this mission because it made decompression. No diver stops. Can't return alive. Third group line in safety checks. He was responsible for the guide. Fixing the line properly gives extra backup. And they say that the team that goes forward is clean and safe. Then the 4th group of explorers, Bill and Parker's team, who actually had to explore Q in the morning. At around 10 o'clock, the whole team water. I got off. Bill and Parker checked their scooters and tanks. Then they prayed a little and went into the depths of the cave. 20 meters down, he met George, who was decompression. The part of the team was going a little further, and that scarce recreation. June reached his buoyancy adjustment. With the help of scooters, they kept moving forward soon. He came to a big chamber named Wakula. The scene was so wonderful. There is a man in the sky within 40 minutes. Then they came to the 4 horsemen and the 4 horsemen, and they went down. The tunnel was narrow, but the scooters were doing the right thing for 25 minutes, and then they came to Rome. They found their way to the top. What happened was perfectly normal. They felt very free inside. Seeing the oxygen level drop at this point, both returned. They knew they were free. Now it was probably until he returned to the Grand Canyon. Then came the water, which turned into water I was looking forward to seeing. They didn't even see their hands. Grand Canyon. It was not like he left a few minutes ago. These were a danger bell that bills and crosses both were able to feel well. It was hard to find the way ahead by catching the guideline. Moving forward, because they thought it was just a little bit longer. And this car's restructuring zone will come. But soon they realized that in front of them, the road is closed to the ground. Then he went up and down the road. Then they had their oxygen tank. It was near the end and they both saw it. And then they caught up with him and gave him a drink. I wrote, "Here I come to check the line." He went back to confirm it. They are not on the wrong path. And then I found out that this is what it is. This is the way out. Bill wanted to come back quickly and tell Parker, just 5 minutes. When he came back, what did he see? There's no fear in the dark. He looked around at the torches. There was no name or mark in the cloud. Then he felt a little lighter than the dust. The water was flowing, he thought, maybe Parker? Then he turned to the other side, and then to the other side. There was no time to think because the oxygen level was about to end. It seemed like every second I started digging myself. As death approaches, the soil was only 2 meters long. But for Bill, it became a mile journey, and finally that place. He was able to get inside. Channel was now turning upside down. Bill saw that guide, regulators hanging from the line, but he ignored because he was running out of oxygen. The breath stopped moving forward, and finally it was 30. Decompression at meter depth. Reached the station and carried oxygen from the bottle to a deep. He thought it would all be okay. Then he looked at Parker's oxygen bottle, which was perfect. In Touch was hanging out, meaning Parker wasn't here. If also on the ground and on the ground, he didn't come and he said no. The heart was broken and then he fell. His friend is no longer alive. Time decompression team member George came down. Bill wrote on the slate and told him to cross. Maybe he died. George tried to get the bill up, but the bill was too much. He was shocked to return without Parker. He didn't want to go upstairs. George went back upstairs. Then the others called, and then they forced it. The bill was taken up. Parker's absence shocked everyone outside the cave. I saw the diver go back to the cafe. He was missing there. There were no names and only signs. Then there was the cylinder, which was separated. The next morning, the body of Parker was found in the upper part of the cave. He knew he had left and only. He was dressed in a dress, and finally he was dressed. Why did he think he was going to go down? Will be taken up, but he decompression? Just a few feet away from the tank. And he knew it, and he died. Several years after the incident, the scientists investigated. The real reason came out when the divers went in. Time decompression at a depth of 20 meters. Then they had their bubbles gathered under the roof. These bubbles slowly reduced the effect of buoyancy on the roof, which made the roof weak when George went out. Then the roof was broken from behind. Then he fell from the ground and slid down the path. Block. The investigation also revealed this. When Parker returned, he was blocked behind Mill Bay. He knew that this was the way. Then he wasted his hands on God. Then, when he returns, he will return. And then, perhaps, his oxygen levels dropped. And him. Bill didn't even get a chance to tell me that I was yours. Then the path is set forth that day. If he didn't give up his life, maybe today. And then he went after her.